All right, welcome back to Net to Net podcast. It's been a hot minute since we've last done this. We're back here doing a soccer episode. Hope you guys enjoy. Now we're going to swing it over to Casey real quick.
Yeah, so, today it's kind of just getting back to it. We're going to be talking about La Liga as well as the Premier League. We'll start off here in La Liga, where a lot has happened since we last talked. Barcelona dropping points week in, week out. Real Madrid making up some ground while still dropping points. A lot of storylines, a lot of headaches between both of our franchises. Injuries, of course, and now the league is closer than it's really ever been since the start of the season. Barca is currently sitting on 17 games played and 38 points. Madrid is sitting at 16 games played and 36 points. So if Madrid wins their next game, they'll be top of La Liga, which is a shock considering how well we started the season as Barcelona. But really, ever since Yamal hasn't been in the lineup as much, or we've rested him and he's come on as a sub, things like that, we just really haven't looked great offensively. We don't have that same creation that he's able to bring for us. Rafinha's still been excellent. Lewandowski still can score with the best of them. Yamal is just unreal. This season, he's kind of just becoming one of the best wingers in the world, and he's proving to be our most important player at 17 years old, which for a team who's competing for the Champions League, competing with Real Madrid for La Liga, Copa del Rey, and other competitions as well, having a 17-year-old as your best player really isn't the ideal standard, and you never see that really. Some are saying that he's one of the best 17-year-olds we've seen. He's kind of showing it, to be honest. But Barcelona, our defense hasn't looked that great recently. We're still yet to play Szczesny. We're still starting in Pena, and a lot of it is just breaking down through the defense, small lapses. Koundé, who's been a standout this season, gave up a crucial goal last week that 2 weeks ago against Las Palmas, and that kind of hurt us substantially. Ended up losing that game, dropping points when Madrid picked up 3 points. But overall, Barca not in a great spot right now. Champions League, I believe we're in third or fourth right now, so we're looking good there. But La Liga kind of flipping, I would say, as a tribute to Steven Gerrard there.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, Barca's in third right now in the Champions League. They're behind Inter and Liverpool. My fellow Real Madrid, they are in 24th in Champions League right now. Due to a lot of injury going on within Real Madrid, we've just lost Camavinga not too long ago, and then we just lost Ferland Mendy after last night's win. Girona, a seamlessly easy win yesterday. I think Girona 3-0. We beat them 5-1 last year. Mbappe scored, Bellingham scored. But yeah, it is a close race like you mentioned. Barcelona is slipping within La Liga, being only 2 points up when they were like 7 points up going into December or something like that. So that is kind of
I think we were
shocking.
9 points at one point.
Yeah, 9 points. But yeah, I think this is going to be wide open. I am just looking through my notes. I do have Real Madrid winning La Liga at the end of the season. And shockingly enough, I actually do have Atletico Madrid topping Barca in second, with Barca getting third, and Athletic Club getting fourth, which, as it stands right now, I have all the top 4 teams correct at the moment. I'm just not in the correct order. Actually, the last Bilbao is the only one that's in the right order. But once Real Madrid gets their players back from injury, I think it's going to be crucial, especially how many games they have to play. It's a lot, and we've already talked about how many games there are in the season, which is a weight on the players. But with that being said, I'm not too worried about Real Madrid in the Champions League. We'll be in the knockout stage. I'm not too worried being in 24th place. We'll be fine. I know we have a big road test against Atalanta on the weekday, We should have Vinny back for that, which will be helpful, and we get Rodrigo back too. Like I said, we lost Ferland Mendy, but we've gotten Chouameni back. We got Frank Garcia playing left back, so I'm not too worried. Mbappe still finding his stride, which everybody knows is probably the biggest talking point of the season. Mbappe, it's going to take him time. We've seen this before with players. Perfect example, Cristiano Ronaldo. His first 4 months, he only scored 4 goals at Real Madrid when he first came. Mbappe, first 4 months, he scored 9 goals. So it will take time for him to adjust to La Liga. And we're talking about going from a farmers league in Liga to one of the best, probably the second best league in the world in La Liga. So the defenders are a lot better. Just the play and the pace of the game is a lot different between La Liga and Liga. But I think Real Madrid, yes, they got blown out in El Clasico 4-0. But yeah, I think Real Madrid can win the league. Barca, they have a good shout. They're playing really well. Rafinha's having a great year. My only concern is with Lamine Yamal. They have a lot of good young talent, but they do plan to overuse them. And I think they need to understand not to overwork Lamine Yamal because they did that with Pedri, and we've seen what has happened to Pedri. Being injured too much. Gavi the same way. They used him way too much. Didn't give him breaks when he needed. And I think that's the difference between Barca and Real when it comes to how they kind of handled how many games their young players play. Because when we saw Vinny usually never gets hurt, and when he was younger and he was coming up, he barely was. He played every so often. We see it with Guler, we see it with Endrick. We're not really heavily relying on those young players like Barca is, which makes sense because if you look at their starting lineup, I think Yamal's 17, Casado's 19,
21.
21. Okay. Kubarsi is young. We saw what happened to Mark Bernal. He was playing good, tears his ACL quick after a couple games. So yeah, it's Paulo Victor. I know he hasn't done much because he's been injured a lot, and he's only like 17, 18. So I think it's just how they use them. But yeah, Barca's having a good season, but I think Madrid will win it out in the long run.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you there. I mean, we typically see these rough stretches for Barcelona, but I think now that pretty much everyone's healthy right now, I think we just need to sort out our defense back to what it was in the beginning of the season, where we weren't giving goals. We were scoring up to 7 goals a game. Like we averaged 4 goals a game in a month at the beginning of the season. So I think we can get back up to that form. I don't see us being third. 100%. We will not be below Atletico Madrid. And although they do have some good players and they've been better in form recently, I wouldn't count us out, Sam. And I don't know why you did at the beginning of the season, but I think we're going to show that we still are probably a top 3 squad in the world this season. At least top 3. We could be, depending on if we win La Liga, if we go far in the Champions League. I mean, we will be automatically in the knockout stage. We have a tough test coming up in Dortmund this week, so that's going to be a really good game with the big yellow wall and everything. If we win that game, I think we are almost automatically in. I'm not sure quite what the implications are there, but we have tough tests with Dortmund. The rest of our UCL games, we play Atlanta at home, and I think that's it. So we should be able to be in the knockouts. Real Madrid, on the other hand, if they don't get up into the top 8, they'll have to play a play-in game in order to get into the knockout stage, which in a single elimination game, anything can happen. I mean, you saw Real Madrid years ago when they played Ajax in the semifinals of quarterfinals of the Champions League.
No, it was the 16.
That was around 16. Okay. And Real Madrid just didn't show up for that game, even though they were a much better squad than the Ajax squad. So anything can happen in football. I think La Liga-wise, we're going to start finding our form. We got a lot of our tough matches out of the way. So our next game's coming up. We have Legantes, which we should be able to beat pretty handily. Then we have Atletico Madrid, which is going to be a tough game. So if we beat them, it's going to give us a big boost of confidence. And we have another tough week. Dortmund, Legantes is easier, and then we have Atleti. So if we win all 3 of those games, we're going to be right back at the same spot we were 2 months ago. Top of form of the world, honestly.
Yeah. Madrid, they have Atalanta on Tuesday, away from home, then away again against Rayo Vallecano, and then home against Sevilla, and then away at Valencia to start the new year before they take on La Palmas, and then play Red Bull Salzburg and Brest at the end to round off the Champions League group stage or league phase. Tough game against Atalanta. It'll be tough. They're red hot right now. Atalanta just beat AC Milan on the weekend. I'm very nervous about that one just because of, like I said, our injury history. But I do like to talk about some bright spots. We do have a up-and-coming young center back in Raul Asensio who has played amazing. He's filled in for Eder Militao since injury. We did get Tchouaméni back, and we did start Tchouaméni at the weekend at center back. But I think Raul Asensio getting that time off before we play Atalanta, I think he'll be in the starting lineup, giving me flashes of a young Sergio Ramos.
Oh, stop it.
He's given me that vibe of young Sergio Ramos days. He's got the demeanor, he's got the aggressiveness of Ramos. He's got some little antics here and there. We've seen him get in a couple. We saw Darwin Núñez try to provoke him during the Liverpool game, which Raul Asensio did put him in his place real quick. But for a young lad,
you guys lost that game.
Yes, we did. We should have played better. Unfortunately, I got outplayed against Liverpool, but Mbappe should have finished his chances. Mbappe should have scored the pen, but I think Vinny should have taken it. Or actually, no, we didn't have Vinny on that game, which was unfortunate because Vinny
was a clear taker. He definitely should have taken that penalty. He just missed it.
Yeah, it was a good save by the keeper. But talk about missed goals. Salah's missed penalty was just really bad. Like didn't even go on target. Went wide.
Yeah.
At least Mbappe put it on frame. Other than Salah's misfortunate, but yeah.
Nice cope.
Yeah. Just a little.
But anyway, speaking of Salah, I just want to ask you real quick, if you had to give out the Ballon d'Or today, who would you give it to for this season? Would it be a Salah? Would it be a Lewandowski? Would it be a Rafinha?
I don't know. I don't know.
Would it be a Vinny?
Not Vinny. No, Vinny. Just because they're not top of La Liga and they're not top of the Champions League. You can make a case for Salah. You could make a case for Lewandowski. You honestly could make a case for Rafinha.
So just for some more facts, Salah this season has 12 goals and 10 assists, and Liverpool are far and above the top of the Champions League and Premier League. Lewandowski has 20 goals and 4 assists, and we're top of La Liga and almost top of Champions League. And then Rafinha has 15 goals and 10 assists in the same scenario.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that you can say could deserve the Ballon d'Or. I would like to throw in a name. You could throw in the name of Cole Palmer.
Don't do that. Stop it.
With the win today, they are 4 points behind Liverpool right now. Yes, Liverpool has a game in hand, but we're talking about a guy that just scored 2 goals today again against Tottenham. He just adding to his count.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Let's say you really believe Cole Palmer could win the Ballon d'Or. Can you give it to someone who doesn't play in European competition?
They are playing in European competition.
Yeah, but I thought Cole Palmer isn't playing. Is he not?
His team's in it.
Yeah, but he's not playing. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, he's not in any of the group phases, but he could be included in the later stages.
I guess, but...
So you don't know that, but his team's still playing in it.
I guess that's a different question, not even Cole Palmer related. It's more of, could someone win the Ballon d'Or if they didn't play in a European competition?
It depends on how he does it. I would say it depends on how he does domestically. In the Premier League and in FA Cup and the Carabao Cup that he's playing in. We talk about a Chelsea team that was projected to be middle of the table, bottom half of the top 10. So
I think
like,
people put them in the mid-table, yeah, like 8 to 12
yeah,
range, I think.
yeah, like 8 to 12 range. And now now Enzo Maresca, who one of our colleagues, Caleb Kirsch, said that Enzo Maresca was on the hot seat going into the season. After preseason, so now we're 4 points behind Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool didn't play this weekend because of the severe weather due to what was going on in Merseyside, so they have to reschedule that game. But take away beating Tottenham 4-3 today in the London Derby. Cole Palmer adds 2 goals to his count. Before that, he's what? I believe he was at 9 goals. So going into the day, he's sitting at 9 goals. You add 2 more, he's got 11. So he's 2 goals behind Haaland and Salah, who are tied at 13. And then Cole Palmer is two assists behind Salah at 6. Cole Palmer is literally Chelsea. I think he gets a shout, but will he win the Ballon d'Or? No, he won't win the Ballon d'Or. I think it's gonna go. It will depend on what Liverpool does this season, because we've seen Liverpool and Salah in those talks of Ballon d'Or conversations and doesn't win it because his team doesn't win anything. And what comes down to the Ballon d'Or is, yes, it's individual success, like how many goals you score, how many records you break, how many assists, how many goal contributions. But it ultimately also comes down to what you win as a club, because you have to have individual success at club and country, and you have to have club and international success. So if you come out not winning anything for club, but you do all this individual stuff, but in the ultimate outcome in soccer, it is a team sport. You play for trophies. You play for silverware. If your club doesn't win that, why should we give you the Ballon d'Or? Why should we give you this award? What have you contributed to your club to win? Because I think a lot of people don't think about that. A lot of people just say, he broke Ronaldo's goal scoring record, give him the Ballon d'Or. No. If you break that record, that's a great accomplishment. But if you don't win and contribute to helping you win the Premier League or win the Champions League or win something, you shouldn't get that award. Like, I see why Rodri won it here. Rodri helped win the Euros, win the Premier League. Vinny's the same way. Helped contribute to win the Champions League, win La Liga. Salah didn't win anything. That's the thing. Now, you can go down there.
This season could be different though, because Liverpool are top of the Premier League, and they're also top 2 of the. Are they top or are they second?
They've won all 15. They've won all their games so far in the Champions League.
They're also top of the Champions League. So,
but we've seen this before with Liverpool. We've seen them be top of the table in December and then bottle it in the new year. Can they keep this form the entire year with a new coach, a new system, new players?
So we're gonna have to wait and see.
Exactly. So I think it is too premature to say who is a favorite for the Ballon d'Or, who's going to win the Ballon d'Or. It is a calendar year. We do have to see who does well in their club, and then when they go into
right. But if it was given, the question was, if it was given today, who would you give it to?
If I gave it today, it would either have to be Lewandowski or Salah. I'd say one of those two.
Go on, pick one. You can't ride the fence like that. Come on.
2 of the teams I hate the most. I'd rather none of them win it. I'd rather be 2020 and just not award the Ballon d'Or at this point.
So you give it to Lewandowski then? No.
Nah, cancel the award. I give it to Salah.
Wow, that is a first. I'm sure Kale will be very surprised to hear that.
I know.
I would give it to Rafinha personally, but
I give it to Salah.
Yeah.
They've won every single Champions League game. They're ahead of in Premier League. They haven't bottled it yet, but they still got time to do that, which we know Liverpool they like to do. But yeah, it's a different thing, because yes, they have the group stage and then they have the knockouts and the playoffs and all that fun stuff, which But and then we talk about it. I think with the Ballon d'Or, you have to think about this year too. You still have now you have players that are going to make their case that Salah will not get to make his case in the summer because now they changed it to the calendar year. So you have players like Haaland, Vinny that will be playing in the Club World Cup for another big silverware, which you don't have Liverpool and Salah and Barcelona and Lewandowski playing in it due to the fact that the new rules is it was the past four winners and then the current winners, or the current winners and then the past four winners, and then it goes to the runner up of that year. So Liverpool and Barca's the cutoff date was the 20. When did Chelsea win the Champions League?
2021, I think, or
Yeah,
2020.
Yeah, whenever Chelsea won it, the cutoff was the Chelsea win, and then forward. So, and then it goes to the runner-ups, and then it goes to and so on and so forth. But yeah, the Club World Cup, they did announce the pots and the groups, and should be an interesting time. And with the new rules of the transfer window, should help also clubs be able to buy players and register them before the tournament starts, because the tournament does start before the transfer window opens, but they will get the clubs get special rules to be able to sign and register players before that tournament starts.
Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't be a net to net video without talking about Man City and how horrible they've been recently. Currently, they are fourth in the Premier League. All of us at the beginning and even before the season said Man City would run away with this thing. They just are too solid of a squad. They've been playing together for a long time. They have the depth. They have the coach. They have the players. They have the talent. All that. They have the youth who should be growing. But Man City, they're 1 win, 1 tie, and 3 losses in their last 5 matches, including a plethora of losses in the Premier League, back to back to back to back. Sam, what's going on with City, and can they come back from this?
Ooh, City. Oof. They're struggling. Yes, I can see them coming back. Is it going to be a long shot? Yes, it will be. Well, how many? How many points?
8 points down from Liverpool right now, with 1 extra game played.
Oof. And they have just looking at their schedule outside of going into the new year, they pretty much play Man U in the Manchester Derby, which that should be a dub. Then they play Villa, Everton, and Leicester, and they also have Juventus on Wednesday in the Champions League. I think City can pull back points before the new year, but what's wrong with them? I think it's the players. I don't think it has to do with. I think Pep's a great manager. I would say Pep is the third best coach of all time.
Elaborate.
About the third best?
Yeah.
I would just say Sir Alex Ferguson and Carlo Ancelotti are.
My stuff.
I just have to say that Carlo, he's won it in all top 5 leagues, most winning manager in Champions League. He was a great player, great coach.
He's gonna be gone after the season anyways. So
well, yeah, he signed a 2-year deal. It's not like he's also like 10 years, 11 years younger than or older than Pep. He's like 70 something years old. Pep's like 45, 50.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a lot older. But back to what I was saying. I think the team needs to be shaken up. I think they're holding on to a few players that probably need to be replaced in the starting lineup and need to shake it up, because we've seen teams in the past keep hold of players for long periods of time and not knowing when to start that rebuild. Liverpool will run into this issue soon. I think we've seen it from Real Madrid holding on to their new guard. Same with Barcelona at one point, holding on to their older players. We're talking about, I think they should have let Ederson leave this summer, brought in a new keeper, because he does not look like the same keeper. And I hold him to a really high standard as a Premier League keeper. Kyle Walker. I think he's one of the best right backs to ever play in England. I think he is a really good right back. He's older now. He's losing it. And we've seen it over the last few games. And funny enough, Kirsch's missing this episode, and he always talks about me talking about how good Kyle Walker is. And the one time he's not here,
you'd be shocked at this episode.
He'd be shocked that I'm talking bad about Kyle Walker.
You said Salah could win the Ballon d'Or, and you said Kyle Walker is.
Today is opposite day, where I say everything opposite of what I usually say. But no, Kyle Walker, they need to change. I think Rico Lewis needs to play at that right back spot. I don't like him at CDM. He's just he's not disciplined enough to be in that role. A big thing is they are missing Rodri. Rodri is that anchor. Kovacic is not that. De Bruyne hasn't been fit. We saw last game what De Bruyne did when he played. He looked great. But it might be time to move on from De Bruyne at the end of the season. There is a chance they don't extend him a contract. There is a chance that he leaves to either Saudi Arabia, or I know that they did say that they would be able to allow De Bruyne to move to another City Group ownership so that would be obviously NYFC in MLS, but is where he would go. I think Bernardo Silva is a great player, but I think it's time to move on.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
He just hasn't looked the same. Jack Grealish obviously is not the same player. He needs to go. I think that's a big sell.
So you think they should do a full a clear out of all the old guard that won all the Premier League titles?
I think it's time.
Except for Haaland and Vardy. I mean, there's a few players that you didn't say, but
I would say your back line is fine outside your right back. I think
they've also been missing John Stones too.
John Stones is I think that player they're missing in that midfield, because when they play that three back, he plays that CDM role.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And he was very good in that role. And now they're playing Rico Lewis in that role and playing a 4-back. I think they need Rodri and Stones in that to make that 3-back work. That make that their formation, how they play. Like I said, De Bruyne is something they've missed all season. He has barely played. They're wingers. They're not getting enough out of their wingers. We're talking about Foden, who is hit or miss.
He hasn't looked the same this season.
No, he hasn't. And City's really never had those wingers that ever scored, but they've produced. We talk about them playing David Silva at left mid, Jesus Navas at right mid back in the day. We talking about Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at Savinho, who has not scored a single goal since he's been there. I think he has 2 assists.
2 assists.
Jack Grealish is not someone that can produce since he's came. I think letting Raheem Sterling leave for Chelsea was a big mistake about a couple years ago, I think. Because even if Sterling has produced more goals and assist contributions than any of these guys have.
Right, but even Chelsea just let him go to Arsenal for not on loan.
Yeah, but
it's not like he was that important to them.
He wasn't. He left us because Enzo didn't want to use him. I think Pep still could use Sterling. I think that was a mistake, but I don't like City's that weird team that it's hard to judge because they do need fresh players. I think they need to go get Martin Zubimendi. I think that would be a good signing for them. I like their back line, Akanji, Ake, Vardiol. They're all good. They just need to get a right back. I think letting Cancelo go was a big mistake because Cancelo, you could put him in over Kyle Walker, and we've seen what Cancelo's done in the past.
Right, but he doesn't get along with Pep.
No, he doesn't. That's the thing. But yeah, I think it's time for a change. I think Pep can still do it. Just bring in new players. Freshen up the team, because we've seen when teams get stale and they start going through that rut. We saw it, like I said, we've seen it with Barca. We've seen it with Madrid. We saw it with Juventus a few years back. AC Milan did it. They rebuilt. Inter rebuilt. So I think all these teams go through it at one point. And I think it's time for City to do it. But I still think they can do it and still challenge for the title.
Well, I think they need to get rid of or sell Kevin De Bruyne because he's just never healthy. That's the only thing. They need someone who can be there week in, week out, create chances for Haaland and for the wingers to get in through the back line. And there's just not really anyone to do that right now with De Bruyne just in or out of the lineup. You just never know. So I think I don't know if they need Zubimendi as much as they need an attacking midfielder that can create those chances, that can be there, and also get back as well.
Well, I think they could. I think Zubimendi would fit them because it gives them defensively. I think you can move Foden back to Cam. He can play the attacking Cam position. We've seen it before. I think they're fine there. But they have to get the wingers. They have to get players that can get in behind the back line, break that line. They don't have the players like they did once. I said,
they have Doku, they have Savinho.
Yeah, they have Doku,
but players, and they're still adjusting.
They're good players, but they're not You're not going to say Doku's better than Mahrez, and you're not going to say Doku's better than Sane when they played, or Sterling, or David Silva, or whoever they had. Those players could contribute, could put stats up there, could break the line, and I think that's what they're missing. I don't think can, because you could either, because they're playing Bernardo Silva at right wing. He's not a winger. He's not. He only plays there because he can't play. They don't play with a cam. They don't play with a 10. Then plays a false 9 or out wide because they don't play with a cam again. A 10 role. We've seen what he does when he plays at the 10 for England. We've seen what he can do. So I think the change of formation, and like you said, I think they have those attacking players. They just don't have someone that can just calm the midfield down. They don't have that. Like you said,
that's Rodri.
Yeah, Rodri's injured. De Bruyne can do it, but he's injured a lot, so he's not playing. Gundogan's not the same Gundogan as 2 years ago. So
he's still a good player.
He's a good player.
Have the legs under him anymore.
No, he doesn't.
He can go all over the pitch.
And then they have no backup striker. They let Julian Alvarez go, which I think was a mistake because he can play cam. He can play the number 10 role.
They got $90 million for him though. I don't think that's a mistake.
But look what he's doing at Atletico. He's producing now.
Yeah, but now they can go and buy someone else.
But they haven't. That's the thing.
They can buy multiple players that will fix the holes, like a backup striker. Mm-hmm. They can buy a winger. They can buy a bunch of players with that. They could,
but I don't know why they haven't. That's the thing. That's why we're like, why haven't they done this? What is Pep doing?
Probably because they're trying to look better in front of those charges. Maybe I don't know.
Those charges, they were found not guilty.
I guess I don't know.
Oh geez. Yeah.
All right, I think that covers about everything we wanted to talk about today. Is there anything else you wanted to bring up, Sam, before we head off?
I don't think so, other than we did touch a little bit about Chelsea. I think Chelsea's pushing it. I think a lot of, like we said, I think Enzo Maresca has to.
You really think they can win the Prem, though? They're 4 points down, and they've played one extra game.
I don't think they'll win the Prem, but I think they will push for that 2 spot. The way Arsenal and Liverpool...
Will they finish above Arsenal this season?
Yes. We're struggling right now.
Will they finish above City this season?
If City keeps playing like how they've been playing, yes.
No ifs. Are they going to finish above City?
No, I think City comes back.
They're 4 points ahead right now.
I think City comes back and wins the Prem.
Wins the Prem?
I think they'll win the Prem. I think in January they'll buy. I think it's going to come down to decision day.
Be interesting. That'd definitely be an interesting end of the season.
It would be.
I know you picked Tottenham to get 3rd, right?
I picked them to get. Let me look. I have it.
I think you picked them at 3rd, if I'm not mistaken.
I have City 1, Arsenal 2, Tottenham 3, Liverpool 4. I had Chelsea at 6.
Yeah, Tottenham's in 11th place right now.
Yeah, I also had Newcastle in 5th.
Where'd you put a Man U at?
7th.
Yeah, they're in 3rd.
Which I think you guys all put Man U in the top 4.
I think I put them at 4, yeah.
I think you and Caleb put them in 4.
I don't think anyone put Nottingham this high up. They're in 5th right now.
Yeah, that was insane. I had them, I think, in the bottom half.
Brighton, I had Brighton pretty high up. And they're in 7th. Did. I think I had Brighton at like 9 or 10, I think. Everyone else had them lower. I know that. I had them highest.
I had Brighton in 15th.
Yes.
Wait. Yeah, I had Nottingham in relegation. Yeah, because I have Leicester. I have Leicester at 12.
Like 12.
Yeah, because I had Leicester at 12.
Newcastle's at 12, yeah.
Yeah, they're in 16th. Oof, that's rough. Well, yeah, Nottingham. Chris Woods is 3rd in goals. Yeah, which is insane. Somehow Nana has the most clean sheets, and Man U suck. I will end it here. Do you think Ruben Almiron was a good signing? It was a good appointment? Or
yes.
Do you think they should have stuck it out with Van Nistelrooy?
No.
Okay.
Van Nistelrooy. I think they should have kept Van Nistelrooy. I thought you were going to compare him to Ten Hag. Ten Hag firing was very justified. He didn't do anything. He spent so much money, and his players got worse since he's gotten there. So, and he had a young squad at the time, and his players ended up getting worse when they were supposed to be hitting their primes. I mean, you look at Rashford, for example. But I can see them being better. I would have kept Van Nistelrooy because I think he brought a spark in the squad. He knows Man U better than a lot of players do, and a lot of coaches do, especially. And
Yeah.
I think the players respected him a lot. Now they're going to get a lot of new experience from the new coach and everything, and he's going to bring a different philosophy. Maybe they bring in Yorkes. That would be
Yeah.
insane. You
I
saw how
don't.
he up at Lisbon.
I would take Gyökeres, but the only thing with
Gyökeres.
Gyökeres is does he fit with those players around him? That's my thing. It's like the problem is with Marone, you don't want him to recreate what Ten Hag did. We saw Ten Hag bring all these players in from Ajax, from his former club, and they didn't produce. I don't think Man U wants to redo that. Yes, Gyökeres is a great striker. He scores, but you have to think about this. It's in the Portuguese league. It's not the same as the Premier League. We saw it with Anthony. Anthony was balling out in Ajax. In the Dutch league, we saw Rasmus Højlund balling out in Dutch league. Comes over here, it's different. They don't score that much.
Right.
Xerxes,
But at the same time, you can see his talent, you can see his intangibles, how he plays. That seems like it could translate very well. But at the other side, you look at Darwin Nunez, who played really well in the Portuguese league, and he comes over and then he misses half his shots in his first season. And he just really hasn't looked like the same player since.
but
When he went to Liverpool, he looked like he was the next great striker for them. But now they're playing Jota over him. Now they're playing Gakpo over him. They're playing other players, and he's just sitting the bench this season.
well, yeah. And another thing is, are you really willing to give him 63 to 75 million for a guy that's going to be 27 come next year? For Gyökeres. That's a lot of money for a 27-year-old. Especially when you've shelled out over 150 to 200 million for two young strikers that you're not getting out of. In Rasmus Højlund and Xerxes. There is reports that Xerxes wants to go back to Italy, and we've seen it because he is struggling. He does not look good. I also don't think the personnel around Man U, and we were talking about this yesterday, Brett and Kirsch and I, about rebuilding Man U and how many players you would actually keep from this team. I said that I would really only keep Kobe Manu, Manuel Ugarte, Garnacho. Those would be the only three people I keep from the team that's there right now. Due to the fact
You wouldn't keep Dalot?
No, I would not sell. I would not keep Dallo. I think you could sell him and bring in someone better. I think he's an average.
Who would you bring in?
He's an average. Frimpong. You bring in a Frimpong.
You're going to spend more money on that.
Well, yeah, you would have to, but Frimpong's a better right back than Dallo. I don't think. All right, I said. Oh, I would also keep Lenny Yurt because he is a young talent.
He's young, yeah.
If he can stay healthy, he can be very good. But we talking about bringing in guys that are good. I would bring Gyökeres in just because he scored goals. My issue would be, can he translate to the Premier League? One person I would bring in from Sporting, obviously, is Ousmane Diomande, the center back, the Ivory Coast center back. 19 years old, physical, reminds me of a younger Koulibaly for how physical he is. His aerial attack, I think he's top. I want to say like top 10 aerial duel wins in Europe. He's very good. He's young. Bring him in. I think that can strengthen your back line. I know a lot of Man U fans would probably be indifferent about selling Bruno Fernandes, your club captain, but he's just been for me. I don't think he's overrated, to be honest. I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, but how much could you even get for him?
I think a team like a big team would buy him, like a
50
Bayern.
million? 60 million?
50, 60. 50, 60, around there. I think a Bayern Munich team would buy him or something like that, or a Serie A
like a
team.
replacement or something?
Huh?
Like, someone to fill the 10 role for that, yeah.
Yeah, because he would be like a cheaper option than trying to go get Florian Wirtz from Leverkusen, because they don't really play Musiala at the 10. They play him out wide. But then again, they do have Elise.
What do you think of Christensen? Because I know Barca, we might be selling him this summer. I mean, I think he would be good anywhere he would go.
Yeah,
You
I
could
think
probably
he
get
would.
him at a 20 mil price tag, like 25 mil.
Christensen would be good just because he has that Premier League experience. He's played so much, and he's a leader. He's won pretty much
He's
everything.
good on the ball too. They don't really have too much of that in the back, so
No, they don't. And they'd definitely be an upgrade over. I would say Christensen's a better center back than anyone they have right now, other than. Yeah. I would say that.
yeah.
I think he's better than Lisandro. I think he's better than definitely better than Harry and Lindelof and Johnny Evans and Yoro. But yeah, I would say that.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps up our episode of this Net to Net podcast. This has been a soccer episode for you. Keep an eye out for our upcoming episodes. Follow us on all our social media. Like, subscribe. Follow us on our Spotify as well.
Yes, sir.
And we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some new stuff out. Like we said, definitely follow us on Spotify, Instagram, like us on those. Keep up to date on those. Turn on your notifications. Hopefully, get this out. We'll get this out today. Definitely going to see my reactions from the college football playoff announcements for the playoffs, as well as hopefully here soon coming out with college football wrapping up. My first mock draft for NFL, so definitely keep an eye on that. And we will see you. Peace.